What's up, y'all? Shawn here. In today's video, I wanted to discuss a system of journaling that I started doing a couple months back. It's called bullet journaling. You might have heard about it before. It's not super new. I think it's been out for 5 or 6 years, maybe longer than that. I'm not even really sure. Um, but basically, it's a system of journaling, analog journaling. So writing down, the tasks you have to do, journaling, whatever you want to write about. But it's a really cool system that's really helped me manage the craziness of my life. So I have tons of things always happening, whether it's with my business or with my personal development or with my family or whatever it is, my political activism. All of it can get a little overwhelming, and sometimes there's a lot going on, and it's kind of easy to lose track of things. So for a long time, I have been trying different ways to organize my life, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this if you're, a student or working, or just everybody seems to have issues with time management, especially if you weren't taught, how to manage your time when you were younger. When you get into adult life and responsibilities just start building up on top of one another, it's very easy to get caught up and overwhelmed, and many people get a lot of anxiety and stress and even depression from not being able to get as many things done as they would like to, or in the case of a lot of the people I work with, or like in my world, a lot of people take on too much stuff without a realistic understanding of what their capacity is, that end up overcommitting, and that overcommitment leads to falling short on commitments, and also spoiling relationships, because you most of us earnestly want to do more things to help others, to help ourselves, to grow our business, to grow our community. But in an effort to make that happen, you kind of are in this hustle. And so, in that hustle, if you're not managing your responsibilities and commitments right, you can burn relationships. So, maybe it's a relationship with a peer or a student or a client, or a customer who, you've made a commitment to them and you made a promise to them, and then you start falling short because you have so much stuff going on. And it could really ruin a lot of relationships, and also mess up business ventures or personal development kind of things. There's so many people who are neglectful of themselves because they've committed so much externally that they're not dealing with internal stuff, right? So like, you want to have your time for self-care, as they call it, or making time to be alone or do your own thing, or family time, or whatever it is. But you're so committed in business or in your organizing efforts that you start falling short on those very valuable things. So in any case, this is just a long-winded kind of introduction to talk about the system that I've discovered in bullet journaling, and that I want to share with y'all today. So I'm gonna do a quick walkthrough of the bullet journal. So I'll change the view of the camera and do a quick walkthrough. But real quick, this is my bullet journal. And this is actually the official bullet journal that you can purchase on bulletjournal.com. And that's another thing. So this system was created by this guy, Ryder. I forget Ryder's last name. I just remember his first name because it's a really cool name. What's his first name? Ryder's first name. Ryder Carroll. So he created this system. It's not something that's super new. There's many systems of journaling, and even analog journaling, but this is a specific system that he kind of refined and made a really cool website that's super minimalist and easy to understand. So I'm not going to go too much today into how the bullet journal works. I'll talk about it, but it'll be a real brief introduction. If you really want to try out the bullet journal and see how it works, I definitely recommend you all go over to Ryder's website, which is bulletjournal.com. And again, like I said, it's super easy to learn. It's a very basic system. The system itself, now what you do with the system is up to you, and I'll talk a little bit about that too when I show my journal. And then I actually didn't find out about the bullet journal through Ryder. and his website initially. I found it on YouTube. I fell upon this YouTube video from this sister named Kate, who runs this YouTube page called Boho Berry. And Boho, I think that's the bullet journal community acronym. I'm not even really sure, or not acronym, abbreviation. But in any case, Boho Berry, if you go to bohoberry.com, Kate's stuff is like the bullet journal plus like tons of infusion of creativity and art and color. And so I first found the bullet journal through her, and I was like, oh, this is really cool because this is a way that I can organize my life, but at the same time it's like a little fun little hobby pastime because of the way that Kate was taking the system and expressing it in her way. So when you see my bullet journal, it has a lot of inspiration from Kate. Not much because I'm really not that artistic, but it definitely is a little bit more colorful than what you'll find on the bulletjournal.com. And when I get into it, I'll explain that more. But basically with the bullet journal, not only is it a task manager system that helps you out, but it's also a way to disconnect in an over digitalized, I don't even know if that's the word or pronunciation, an over digital world, right? Where we're constantly connected to our phones or our computers and our smart devices. We're constantly on our email and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and just always plugged in. And even when we're trying to organize ourselves, we have to plug in to do it, right? You have your online calendar and, I used to use Wunderlist, which is a cool, nice little checklist app. So there's all these cool little apps. But I found that in these things that I was trying to use to help organize me, I was still going to the place, my phone or my computer, where there was tons of distractions. So I felt like it was contradictory, where I was trying to get more organized and trying to get less distracted, but having to go and find organization in a place where there was the most distractions, right? Because it's very easy to, want to organize your calendar. So you go on to your calendar application. So I use Google Calendar. And so I go onto my Google Calendar. It's very easy to then get a notification that, someone liked your picture or someone made a comment on your post. And then you go over there and then, you went on there to schedule an appointment and you realize 20 minutes later, you wasted all this time on social media. So in the past couple months, I've really been wanting to make an effort to get away from that. In fact, my social media feeds, if you follow me on social media, which if you want to find me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, it's just Shawn, SHAWN, RevFit, Shawn RevFit, everywhere you can find me. And when you go there, there's some personal stuff, but really it's almost all like business related or organizing related. I very rarely post anything super personal. And that's not because I'm trying to be private. It's just because really when I make time to get on social media and these avenues, it's more so for business development and organizing efforts. It's not for, where I'm expressing myself and all that kind of stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Please continue to do so. But I have other avenues to do that. I have this vlog. I have, my daily work that I do that I'm constantly talking to people, the workshops I'm always running. So I already have my avenues. So I wanted to not get caught up in that. So I just really go onto social media for business. So getting back to this written analog system is actually key. It's key. So writing things down does a couple things. First, when you put pen to paper, more so than when you're typing on a computer or anything like that, when you put pen to paper, it really, really brings to life whatever you're writing out. Also, it takes a little bit more effort to write. And I find that that effort to write stuff down actually makes things a little bit more important, or I remember things a little bit better. Sometimes when I type notes down in a computer, I can just save that and archive that somewhere, and who knows next time I'll see it. I mean, there's tons of stuff that's backed up in my Evernote or Microsoft Word or in my, external hard drives. I have like 5 of them. I don't even know what's on those things, which is another issue that I gotta eventually deal with. But I think a lot of you all can relate to that, especially now with a lot of things going onto cloud automatically. So like your photos and different documents automatically getting uploaded onto the cloud, it's very easy to lose track of things. So when you write things down, it brings a little bit more life to them. And also it's easier to reference when you go to the bullet journal. When we show the system, you understand what I mean about referencing things. It's easier to, like, oh, where's that brainstorm I did a couple weeks back? Where can I find that? There's actually like a table of contents component in the bullet journal, which we're going to talk about. But also too, writing is something that I think is there's something primal in it. When you write something down and you're using your physical body to do that expression, is there something very different from when you're typing it out that I think we all should try to get back to. It might not work for you. I might be, doing this video and it's only for a particular few, but I really earnestly believe that we all need to write more. We need to write on paper more. We need to get back to that old school kind of style. So in any case, I think we'll shoot over to the bullet journal and I'll show you how I use it. I use it. Oh, this is another thing. I use my bullet journal to organize my calendar. I use my bullet journal to brainstorm ideas in relation to business, personal development. I use my bullet journal to track my daily habits, so different routines or habits I'm trying to form. I use my bullet journal for that. And then also I do some like random doodling, not so much, but every once in a while I'll do some random doodling. And so it's a little artistic expression as well. So in any case, that's all I use my bullet journal for, but you can use it for so much more. So let's go over and swing to the bullet journal so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. So this is my current bullet journal. A little dirty there, sorry. So I'll try to show this stuff as best as I can from this angle. It's a little weird, but there's a bunch of different tutorials already online on what a bullet journal is and how to use it. So you could definitely check those out. I'm, again, not going to spend too much time on that today, but this is my bullet journal. So this is the official bullet journal put out by bulletjournal.com. This book is also made in development with Leacham 1917. I think that's how you pronounce it, Leacham or something like that. Some German company. Really, really cool journaling company. I have my bullet journal, and then I have another journal this size. I think this is like the A4 or something like that. I might be totally wrong with that. I'll put in the show notes for sure, the right one. But I also have a larger one that I use for my manuscripts for my books. So it's just a really good company to check out. So in any case, Bullet Journal, they set up a relationship with them, and you'll see why when you look in this book. But before even getting into the book, just know that you can use any book. Any notebook will do for this system. In fact, you could just use a bunch of loose leaf paper. It's not the most effective way, but just know that there shouldn't be a restriction from you doing this system just because you can't get access to this book. Like this book, I think cost me, I want to say like $30 plus shipping and handling. So it's really expensive considering that you can buy other books out there for much cheaper. If you buy the non-bullet journal one, it's only $20. So the same exact book with all the components, just a couple different things. Like there's only 2 of these on the original. There's not a table of contents or something. No, there is a table of contents. There's not some other stuff in here that's specific to the bullet journal. But honestly, if you have to buy one, I brought this one just so I could try it out officially and share it with you all. But going forward, I'm probably just gonna buy the original, which is $20 on Amazon Prime, free shipping, all that kind of stuff. And then you can even you can get the Moleskines or any of the other ones. All of them are good. All of them are good. But this one just happens to be the best for this system. So let me open it up real quick. So this is my bullet journal. This is I started this one specifically in February, and I just guesstimated that it'll carry me to July. It might be shorter, it might be longer. We can always adjust. But in any case, so when you open up the book, so this right here, this key system, you can see I added some of my keys onto here. But this key system is like what's not in the regular book. And this is, you could just write it out. You don't need to pay $10 extra to get this printed out for you. But in any case, so right here is the key system on how the bullet journal works. So there's different symbols that mean different things throughout the journal. So for instance, task is just a dot. When you complete something, you cross it out, right? So it's completed. If you're migrating something, which I'll talk about in a little bit, you use the forward arrow. If you're going to schedule it, back schedule it, or future scheduled. I'm sorry, future log it. It's a back arrow. A note is a dash. I don't really use this note, so I might just cross that out. Events are indicated with circles. Irrelevant or canceled are crossed out. And all these are just suggestions, so you can create whatever keys you want. So I created this is some different keys. So priority signifier, this is the key I created for it. Or is that the key, or is that their key? No, that's my key, I think. Delegate is something that I do. So if it's a task that I don't necessarily need to get done, but one of my team members can get done, I can delegate it. That's the D that I put, that I delegate the task. If I need to research something a little bit more, I put this I, an inquisitive I. So that means I need to do more research. And then over here is a color code, and it'll make sense in a little bit what my color code is for. But each color signifies different kind of tasks that I'm doing. So these are like my main tasks. There's things within those things, but this is how I color code them. That'll make sense a little bit. So this is my contact information. If you're trying to get in contact with me, you can always shoot me an email. That's my number and my social media. So let's go forward. So blank page. I don't know why it's blank, honestly. This is a tip page that comes with this bullet journal. Again, you can find all this stuff on the website though. And here's your index or your table of contents. So this is what's really cool. So through here, I have all the different things that I filled out in this bullet journal. So when I put something in the bullet journal, everything is page indicated, right? So there's pages in these Leecham 1917s. If you don't get a Leecham 1917, you just got to write in the pages, which is fine. It's just a little extra work. But the page indication is nice because then once you're filling things out, you can go back to the table of contents and write what page that you did that on. And so you can see examples of different things that I've logged or put in my index, my table of contents. So when I'm trying to find something from a couple of weeks ago, I could just look into my table of contents and say, oh, it's on page, that kettlebell class that I did on February 27th that I designed is on page 27, and I could reference it. So that's really helpful. So then this is more table of contents pages. These pages are what they call future logs in the bullet journal. I don't really use the future log, so I might actually get rid of this. So I started using it. So you see there's a couple things on here. I put this table, this calendar, that's not part of the original, but the concept of writing out the upcoming 6 months is something that Writer and Bullet Journal recommends. And you basically just put like future events. And this is okay, but honestly, I use my Google Calendar for that. So sometimes I reference this, but very rarely, and I haven't been filling it out regularly. So usually that's the cool thing about the bullet journal. If you're not using something and it's not benefiting you, then just scrap it and find a new system that's going to help benefit you. See some more pages and this one dedicated to future logging. Again, unnecessary in my opinion, whatever. I started this thing, books to read, and I was going to write out this list of books that I wanted to read. I haven't been on top of that, so whatever. This cool Bruce Lee quote that I like, long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. One of my favorite quotes out there from the man Bruce Lee. So this was my first attempt at doing a monthly kind of tracker. So I actually wrote out the whole month for February, and similar to my future logs, I didn't really do anything with it. So I wrote out my main tasks. That was some of my main tasks, but all this stuff, it was such a waste. So I drew this out, spent a bunch of time on it. It was fun drawing it out, I guess, but then nothing happened with it. And that's a little figure, some dude that I drew. My mom would appreciate that. I used to do those a lot when I was younger. So then here, this is kind of cool. So these are sorry about that. These are two systems that I saw at Bohoberry. So the first one was this thing called a wellness tracker, and it was kind of a rating system from 1 to 10 on these 4 specific topics. Well, this is the topics I picked. So each day I would rate how my mood felt. I would rate how my sleep was. I would rate how my nutrition was. And I would kind of track and see the ups and downs and when things were good and when things weren't that good. But it was cool, and visually it looks kind of cool, but I really didn't do much with it. So I'm probably going to scrap that. Well, I did scrap that. I didn't use that afterwards. Now here, my habit tracker. This is really one of my bread and butter things that I use. So over here on the side, you see a bunch of different things that I'm trying to do every day, or that I at least want to track throughout the month. And so this was my first time doing it. So over here, I wasn't really tracking it that much. That's why it looks kind of light. It wasn't that I wasn't consistent. I just wasn't really using it yet. And then around here, you can see I started using it and I really started tracking it. So I have all the things that I wanted to do every day. So meditation in the morning, enemas, coffee enemas, writing, yoga, supplements, blah, 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 blah. You can see all the things that I wanted to do every day. And then if I did it, I would color it in with a red square, and then I could see what I was having success with. So you see I was really consistent with drinking teas and smoothies and using essential oils. But I was not as consistent with writing that month. You see how inconsistent I was with writing. And what this told me was like, wow, these habits are easy for me to pick up for whatever reason, and this is a little harder. So why is that happening? So it's a chance for me to reflect, because now I'm measuring my success, and there's no real way to make progress without measurement. So my habit tracker is something that I've kept with throughout the months, and I really love it. Sometimes I'm very consistent with filling it out, sometimes I fall short, but again, the bullet journal is all about doing what works for you and not stressing out if you forget to do a couple days, whatever. So now this is the daily breakdown. So after you have your monthly planner, there's some people that do weekly planners, but the system really just talks about a monthly planner and then daily planners. So this is an example of my daily planning. Now this is not the standard bullet journal system. This is a more complex and colorful variation, one that I like to do, that I got inspired by Boho Berry, Kara from Boho Berry. But Writer System is literally just a list, with the symbols, the little icons, and you can go to the site and you'll see it. But this is more advanced, but this is what I like to do. So basically, at the start of every day, I write out the hours of the day. So this is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3, blah, 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 1 p.m., 2 p.m. I was doing like army time, and I was like, why am I doing that? And then I went to regular time. So in any case, so that's the times of the day. The colors, again, like I showed you earlier in the key. So if I go back to that key, where is that? So if I go back here, this is the color system I created. The colors indicate what my day is composed of. So blue is sleep, yellow is morning routine, green are appointments or tasks, red is administrative time, so time I'm dedicating to my business or organizing. No color is free time, and then blue again is sleep. So this is really helpful because it starts helping you realize what you have to do to get the task done, like what actual time you have throughout the day. So if I plan like 20 administrative tasks, but I see I only have 3 to 4 hours, realistically, I'm probably not going to get all those tasks done. And off the back, just with this visual aid, I can see that. Like, wow, this day is going to be real heavy in appointments. This day was real heavy in appointments too. So if it's really heavy in appointments, that means I have very little time for administrative work, which is okay. It helps me visualize it. And then the day, obviously, the day of the week. And then this little thing here, so basically I started indicating the weather for the day, just because it helps me kind of manage my day a little bit better if I know the weather. So in any case, but that's something, you could use or not use. It's just, I like to draw the little thing. I saw it at Boho Berry's thing, and it's like a little doodle that I like to do. So then if you go over here, so these are different appointments and tasks throughout the day. So the circles, again, are appointments or events. And the way I qualify something as an appointment or event is if it's going to take like 30 minutes or more. It could be a task. Like this is picking up water, right? That's kind of silly, but it's such a task that I actually schedule an appointment for it, because it's going to take a significant amount of my time to do it. It's like a 30-40 minute thing to do, because I have to walk a ways and all that kind of stuff. So it's a circle. When it's completed, I cross it out. So that means that I was successful in completing it. So these are different tasks that I had. These were dots. These are appointments. These are tasks. And so that when I did the task done, I crossed out the task. Now this arrow, remember the arrows, if we go back to the key, forward arrows are what we call migration. So the thing about this system is that you know, it's not about getting everything done because that's unrealistic. There's no way you can get everything done in a day that you have to get done. You know, we're overworked and we're overstressed and we're overburdened. So that's not realistic. So that's okay though, because this migration system, what it allows is for you to tell yourself like, oh, I wasn't able to get this done today. Let me do it on a future day. And so that's what this arrow is. And so you write down the arrows, meaning that you're migrating the things. Over here, I was doing like some numbering of importance of tasks. Just, you know, I wanted to get these top 3 done, and everything else, even though it was important, wasn't mandatory. So in any case, so you'll see that there was a lot of migration happening this week. Because I just, you know, I was like over committed. This is when I first started my journal. And if you look further in my journal now, there's less migration. That's not a good example. That was a heavy migration day too. But here, yeah, there's less migration. And what I found was that in this first week, it put me in perspective like, whoa, I'm committing to too much stuff. And so just from jump, just starting the system helped me, you know, start adjusting my overcommitment issues, basically. So then also too, you see there's a back arrow here. This means it was something that didn't get done, but honestly, I don't need to get done anytime soon. I can put it in the back burner, AKA my future log. Let me go back there. So if I back arrow it, I throw it in my future log and I can do it on a future month. And so that's just, you know, I don't do many back arrows actually. I try to just get stuff done. So what happens is that technically, I think what Ryder's suggestion for the bullet journal is when you migrate something on a day, you know, from day to day, the next day you should rewrite the task. I don't do that. I wait to I turn to the next page. That's something that Kate from Bohoberry does, and I was like, oh, this actually makes sense because I visually can see all the tasks I need to get done, and I can cross things out if I get them done on a following day. But I don't want to go ahead and rewrite them every single day because it just becomes a little bit too much. But it is important for this system that you're rewriting the task. So what happened was I didn't get all these tasks done. I migrated them to the following, you know, and when I got to the following week, Saturday, I rewrote everything that I didn't get done. So everything that I migrated, I rewrote all those tasks out. And that's really important because what it does is that it reminds you if you're, you know, bullshitting, for lack of better terms, on the tasks that you need to get done. So, you know, I was pushing those tasks off. Fine, that's okay. You can push tasks off. But then when you start rewriting them and then rewriting them and then rewriting them, you start realizing, oh man, like I'm really neglecting this task. I need to prioritize it. Or I need to, you know, realize it's never going to get done. It's not realistic, and just either delegate or get rid of it. You know what I mean? Versus having like commitments lingering around, which is never good. So in any case, so that's that's the daily breakdowns. And then here, this is just a random note thing that a system that I was doing, tracking attendance for a course I was doing. I kind of fell off and stopped tracking on the second half, but it was a good visual to track the attendance of my students. This was some training stuff I was doing. You see a quick doodle. So basically with the bullet journal, you do your daily tasks, whatever, doodle when you want. And then when you want to do a brain dump, you just brain dump. You know what I mean? Just brain dump. So this is a website I'm designing. I just brain dumped. This was a joint mobility sequence I was developing. I just brain dumped. And so it starts on whatever next page you want. And then you just jump back into your daily planning when you're ready. And in fact, there's a bunch of brain dumps. There's also some other examples of things. That's another habit tracker. I'm not going to go into all of this stuff. But in any case, there is an example. Where is it? It was more recently. So, oh yeah, right around here. So this is at the end of March. So I got to the end of March. I got to March 28th. And then I just bullshitted on my bullet journal. Even though I already had pre-written my April stuff, I bullshitted on my March end of month because it was my birthday. And so what happened, it was my birthday was coming up, and I was just like, I'm not messing with my bullet journal. I was just hanging out with family, drinking too much, eating too much. So I never wrote in my bullet journal. That is okay. In fact, I could have started April here. I didn't have to go and skip to a new page, but since I already pre-wrote it, it went to the next page. But if you miss a day, basically is what I'm trying to say. If you miss a day, all good. Just start with the next day that you're ready. The whole thing about this system is that it shouldn't be a burden. It should be assisting you. Many calendars out there that come with like pre-written, templates for months and all that kind of stuff. You get really ambitious and you're like, oh, I'm gonna use this every day, and then you fall off. And then what happens? There's like half the book or something was the first 6 months of the year, and you just neglected those 6 months. So now you have to go mid-year and start writing. It's just so silly. And so you get these planners, and then they never get used. So another thing that I did with my bullet journal is in my back, I track my Kung Fu training, actually. So I track, when I go to my classes, and I write out notes for my classes and different movements that I'm learning in my classes. So that's another thing I use my bullet journal for too. And since it's kind of separate from my daily planner, I put it in the back of my book. And I could do that. I could have done that randomly. I could have started it, right up in the midst of things right here. It doesn't matter. It's all up to your creativity. These things are to help you with reference to important pages, which I rarely use them, honestly. But if you're into that's good too. Real quick, I just wanted to show some of the materials I have. So again, this is the bullet journal. This is the Lynchum, whatever, 1917. This is my little pen case. In here, I have tons of different pens. And these are colors I use to color my book. These are color pens that my mom just got me for my birthday. So that's kind of cool. So I can do more color in my book and not just have everything written in black. This is my go-to pen here. So I like this. This is another boho berry recommendation, the Faber-Castell artist pen. The S size is the one I like. It's thin enough that it looks nice, but not too thin that I don't see anything. And it's like, I don't know, it has like all this special stuff. It's like it won't fade over time, and it doesn't bleed through the pages and all that stuff. I also have this, what is this, a protractor? I forget what it is, but this is how I draw some of my lines in there when I'm trying to be super fancy. Oh, I forgot to mention. So this book, I don't know if you can see it, the Lynchum 1917. This is the dotted version. The dotted version versus lined. And this is really cool because when you're doing lines and dashes and stuff like that, the dotted version helps a lot. I write really small, so I can squeeze things in there. But even if you write bigger, the dotted version seems to be the best system and what a lot of the bullet journalers out there prefer to use. So I have all my different pens, but again, all you need is a regular pen. You don't need all this fancy stuff. You don't need any color. I just like to do it. It's fun, whatever. And then I have my nail clipper. I gotta clip my nails actually. And then, I just put this in my little carrier case, and I just carry this with wherever I go. Real easy, real small. Like this is the size of my hand. And it's really, really helpful. So I'm pretty sure people are going to have tons of questions, and I'll probably do a couple more walkthroughs. But this is a quick video, well, not that quick, about 30-minute introduction to the bullet journal, how I use it, how I think it can be effective, and hopefully you learn something from this. And if you want to start adopting the bullet journal, again, go to the main website, bulletjournal.com. Go to bohoberry.com site, get some inspiration from her. Also, you can go onto Instagram and Pinterest and type in bullet journal, and you'll see tons of examples of others' expressions of their bullet journal. And you can gain inspiration from different ways that they're taking the system to the next level. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.